Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode with Rosie Baby. You know, as I will always say in my videos, understanding is very important in every relationship and marriage. Now, at that courtship stage before you get married, it's very important that you discuss everything with your partner. Let there be a mutual understanding, an agreement between the both of you on everything concerning your marriage. You don't need to talk about some things and leave some things for later. No, talk about everything. It will save you a lot of stress. It will save you a lot of arguments, disagreement, challenges, and all of that. So it is at that courtship stage when you guys start talking about marriage, start meeting each other's families. That is the stage where the both of you need to start, having agreement about how your marriage is going to be. Because if you don't talk about it, you end up having, little misunderstandings and disagreements that should have been avoided if only you guys had a mutual understanding before getting married. So in today's episode, I'm going to be enlightening you guys on 4 main things that the both of you need to talk about. When you're still in that courtship stage, you need to talk about these 4 things with your partner before you say I do. Not just talking about it, but having a mutual understanding and an agreement on it. It will save you a lot of challenges, to save you a lot of stress and misunderstanding. But before I begin, of course, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Also like and comment on my videos as well. Thank you so much for that. So if you really want your marriage to last, there are things you need to agree on with your partner so that you can stay married and not begin to talk about divorce at a very early stage. So the number 1 thing you need to agree on with your partner is about money. Have discussions about money. Ask questions. Ask each other questions. There are so many questions you need to ask pertaining the financial aspect of your marriage. Are you living on a budget? How is the spending, saving and giving status of your marriage going to be? These are things you need to ask, because money is more like the number 1 thing that causes divorce, and there is high rate of divorce in our society already. So these are actually things that are avoidable only if you plan yourself well and do the right thing. So ask yourself questions. How are you going to be spending? Who is contributing what? How are you going to be contributing to managing the family? All those things are very important. Ask your partner questions about money. It will help you guys to be able to plan the financial status of your marriage. Do not neglect this. It will save you a lot of misunderstandings. Talk about money. The way your finances is going to be flowing in the home, outside the home, towards your family, towards your in-laws. All those things there are challenges that comes with all these things can be avoided if only you talk about it and have an agreement. The second thing you need to talk about with your partner, very important, is kids. Yes, you need to talk about your children. That is the future of your marriage. It is very important. Ask your partner, are you guys going to have kids? If yes, how many? How will these children get trained? What are your plans for your children? Ask your partner questions about how he or she disciplines, thinks children should be disciplined. All these things are very important. I understand that you can never know it all about this parenting of a thing. Children are blessings, yes, but parenting can be really tough. So once in a while, it's very important that you have discussions about how the whole parenting thing is going to be, how many children, how they are going to be raised, and all those things. They are really important because it will save you guys a lot of conflicts. There are marriages that has been destroyed all because of lack of understanding about this whole parenting of a thing. So that is why it is very important. You cannot talk about everything, but there are necessary things that you need to talk about and have a mutual understanding and agreement on it. And kids, your plans for your children, it's very important. The third thing you need to talk about in your relationship is in-laws. Yes, let's be real here. We know how in-laws can be sometimes. Some of them can be really troublesome. So it's very important that you talk about your family members with your partner and let your partner also tell you about his or her family members, because the both of you need to learn to set boundaries. It is just the both of you. So you have to learn to set boundaries. Don't be the type that always allow your in-laws to come in between the both of you. You're destroying your marriage gradually, but you don't know. Don't always be the type that allow your in-laws to ill-treat your spouse, to disrespect your spouse in any way. No, do not tolerate that. Right from the day you introduce your partner to your family, do not ever tolerate anybody in your family to disrespect your spouse in any way. Don't. Whether that person is older, there are ways to set boundaries. Now, it's very important that you have conversations of how your in-laws are going to be interfering in your marriage, whether they're going to live with you, whether just talk about them. Learn to also know the personalities of your partner's family. Learn about their characters. Just get to know them casually. It is very important so that you know how to relate with them. I'm not saying you should make trouble, but learn to set boundaries. It is very important to save people a lot of misunderstandings, because actually most of them know how to come in between partners, all those kind of things. They know how to be troublesome sometimes, not all, but they do know how to do such things. So it's very important that you learn how to set boundaries. If there's anything they are doing that you don't like, maybe at that courtship stage or now that you guys are married, talk about it with your partner. It's not everything that your in-laws do that you always go there and cause trouble or shout or fight. No. Learn to respect yourself as well, and so that they will be able to respect you. That is another very good way of setting boundaries. And finally, for today's episode is religion. It is very, very important that you talk about religion with your partner, because, for example, if the both of you are not of the same religion, that means you have different beliefs. That means it will affect your family if you don't have a mutual understanding. It will also affect the way you raise your kids, because the values and the beliefs are not the same. So even if the both of you have different religions, there is a way all these things can still be arranged. One person has to make a compromise. You have to make that sacrifice. Either you join your partner's religion, just talk about it. Even if you're of the same religion but you don't attend the same church, you still need to talk about it, so it doesn't cause problem. Do you know there are a lot of marriages that has divorced all because of church, because they don't have a mutual understanding about how they'll go about this church of a thing. Because when you don't talk about it, you see yourself struggling to be able to balance everything in your home. So at that early stage, especially if your partner, the both of you don't attend the same church, you can just ask your partner. There are men that don't mind if their wives are attending another church, and there are men that insist that their wife must follow them to the same church. All these things are different personalities, different understanding. So you need to know what your partner believes in and understands, how he understands these things. Especially the women. You know that normally, especially in the African setting, it is usually the woman that will leave her own church and join the man. But there are men that still don't mind. There are marriages where the man attends his own church, the woman attends her own church, the children follows whoever they want. And there are men that will insist that you must follow them to that church where they are going to. But whichever one that is happening in your home, it is still understanding. If both of you talk about it and both of you are okay with attending different churches, fine and good. That is why you need to talk. If you don't talk about it, it will end up spoiling things before the both of you can now agree. So to avoid all those conflicts, talk about it. Communication is key. So indeed, marriage is really hard work. If you want your marriage to work, you have to work for it. So in order for you to overcome the battles related to these issues I just mentioned, communication is key. That it is through communication you'll be able to overcome all these challenges. Learn to have mutual understanding in your marriage. Learn to stand together. Agree on things, because united you stand, divided you fall. So once there is division in your home, your marriage begins to crash. That is why understanding, communication, mutual agreement is very, very important. So that is all for today's episode.